We'll start again. Hi. I'll have to say it all again. It didn't go live. Honestly, what a crock of shit this StreamYards is. I don't care about advertising. Right, we'll start again. Sorry, I clicked live and it didn't go live, and we'll start again. Right, good evening. This is Airfix and Chill. Sorry, a little bit late, but we've been on for 5 minutes before we realised it live. Honestly, sometimes I don't know what it is. I'm clicking something wrong. I don't know. But anyways, welcome. Tonight we're going to talk about starter sets because, as you know, Airfix have just released their new Lightning. We're going to talk about that in the show. But going around the room, we'll go back to Matt. Hiya, Matt. What are you building on your workbench?
Hello. I've just put my mouse on it. That was stupid. There we go. I have a Hella starter set, also sold as a gift set of the Alouette, little French helicopter.
Yep.
Which is coming along nicely. It is missing a wing because it might have been involved in an accident with gravity. But just putting the decals on prior to the rotors. It's quite a nice kit.
Yeah. It's lovely. Very nice. Very matchboxy, isn't it?
Yes. So it's a 1990-ish tool, if I remember correctly.
Right.
Not too old for Hella.
Yeah.
That you definitely didn't overpay for, right?
We're ignoring the price that I paid for it because that was a voluntary choice.
Fair enough. Right. Quickly onto Fenris models. What have you got on your workbench, my friend?
Well, working on the Minicraft RB29 Super Fortress.
Wow.
So, I believe when we realized that the StreamYards was being StreamYards, that you were about to tell us a story about Minicraft.
Yes, Minicraft were importers of Academy and Frog back in the day. And there's a lot of talk about Academy stealing or completely cloning Frog kits. So the F4
You had it right. F4F
was actually, if you look at the Frog kit, you look at the Academy kit, it's the absolute same. You know, they were, and I think it was because Academy thought the Frog were going out of business, and instead of buying their tooling, they went and nabbed that one. And there's a load of original Academy kits that were basically Frog, and we think that because it used to be Minicraft Academy, didn't it? If you notice, in their Minicraft Frog, that was the brand. They used to import them over to America, and I think that's how it all stemmed from there, really.
Yeah, I knew about the connection with Academy, but I had no idea that there was that with Frog as well.
Yeah, it's all a bit like it. Anyways, we'll go to John. It's John Alex Scale Models. Hello, my friend. You're still carrying on with that gun, I guess. And the microphone is silent. I suppose he's going to make a cup of coffee.
It's Scale Model Mine. That's what it is.
I was talking and I was still on mute.
Yeah.
So, hey, everybody. Hey, I'm still working on that TACOM 135th. My camera seems to be a little out of focus, but
hey, it looks all right.
The Big Bertha, the 420 millimeter siege cannon.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't even done the cannon yet, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been enjoyable. I've been enjoying this. A lot of part prep. Probably more part prep on this kit than I've had to do maybe on any other kit, but I'm happy with the result. So, yeah.
Fair enough, my friend. And you've released your next part of the Spitfire build, and it's looking very, very nice.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, the very last part is going to be the. I've already coated it, varnished it, and so I just need to put the decals on and then start the weathering process, which I have never done before. So, what's the delay is I've been watching other videos on how people have been weathering, World War II planes. So, yeah, before I start to tackle that.
Just send it over to Sully and he'll put a bird's nest in it for you and you'll be done.
Yeah. The robin's nest. Oh yeah.
All right, moving over to the man of the hour, James. How are you, my friend? Are you feeling better?
Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better, thanks.
Yeah, you got your voice back.
Yeah, for the moment. I don't know how long it'll last, but yeah, it's better, much better than it was, thanks. But as you can see, there's nothing going on my bench at the moment.
Why is that?
Because I've been busy working on some bits and pieces that are hidden away, and I've also got to go and pick my missus up in about half hour or so because she's finishing work. So
yeah,
there you go.
Fair enough. That's cool. Wow, I did see the Airfix ambulance on your right-hand shoulder there, looking pretty smart.
It's there. It's not finished yet. I've got a pile of parts over there in which I've got to when I fix the roof, I've got to repaint the back bit. It'll get done eventually. I just lost the mojo on it a little bit.
Lost your mojo. I know that feeling, definitely. Right, over to Lexi, who's hiding behind camera. How are you?
I am okay. Very tired. How are you?
I'm very well. You've got a video coming out in half an hour?
In 3 minutes, actually.
In 3 minutes.
Yeah.
If you want to jump off and go on to that one, then come back after you've done it, then that's all fair and good, okay?
I mean, I'll probably get in bed and hop back on. I'm very tired.
I want you to put your lighting up on camera because I've built mine and see how yours has got on. So, but we'll compare notes about that in a minute.
I can grab it quickly if you want. I just refuse to go on myself because I look like crap.
All right, I'll move over to Alex and then we'll come back to you, okay? And Alex, hello, my friend, my podcaster in crime. How are you, my friend?
I'm very good. I do have a starter kit.
You do you?
It is finished. So
okay.
Just bob along. There we go.
Look at that.
Mary Rose. Airfix Mary Rose. Really, really nice little kit. I actually did it as the starter kit challenge.
Did you? Did you do it in an hour?
I didn't do it in an hour. No, not with those Umbro paints. So,
how did you get on with Umbro paints?
Which colour would you like to talk about?
Yes, I think everyone agrees. Yeah.
So the white that they supply, it's not really paint. It's more sort of sand in water with pigment bits. It's the most granular thing I've ever used. It's dreadful. The other paints were fine. The gunmetal, the brown. It's an odd choice of colours that they put in. I wish they'd just put a black, a white, a brown, and like a buff, like a cloth colour. Yeah. But they didn't do that. And it makes it quite difficult to work with. The gunmetal is actually probably the best paint in the starter kit. And the one that you use least, use it for the cannons and the anchors, which, as you can probably see, aren't very big. I actually ended up doing the stand in the gunmetal as well, just because it just said to do it brown, and I thought everything's going to be brown. So if they'd done black instead of that, I think it would have allowed a little bit more scope, especially for a starter kit challenge. But actually, for a starter, black and white with a couple of other colours would give you a greater range if you did want to mix paints and things, which is kind of a very basic skill. So, but it's a fantastic kit. The actual kit itself is lovely. I was pleasantly surprised. So
Well, this week, Airfix released their Lightning, or F-35B Lightning 2. I've done an unboxing video, and there's Lexi's there on screen. Let me just get Lexi's up. Well done. Looks lovely. Love it. And that, which paint did you use on that one, Lexi?
Life color, but I mix the colors myself.
Okay. Very nice.
You should have really flown it across the screen, Lexi. You know, I did the little bobbing of the boat.
Or should have hovered.
Yeah, but I'm trying not to be on camera because I look like rubbish.
She's got a finger half over the lens there. I've done mine. I've just edited the video now. It's going to go live tomorrow. But I've built mine. There's my light. I just put some light over there. There you go. So there's mine. It is an absolute joy to build. It's so simple. It is like a submarine. It's two halves stuck together. Okay. I went against the. I didn't use the Humbrol paint, and the reason I didn't wasn't because I wanted to do a starter set challenge, because I will probably do this as a starter set challenge in the future. But I want to get the video out there. So what I did, I used lacquer paint, and somebody, I can't remember where I saw it to, but somebody had built the Tamiya Lightning, and they recommended using Tamiya's IJN navy color, which is LP14. So that's it. It's IJN grey, navy grey, Imperial Japanese navy grey. That's what I used. And I think that is spot on for color. I've given it a wash with a flory wash just to give it a bit of dirt. Done the pilot. So there's the pilot all done in there. I use some Posca pens, put a bit of detail in the cockpit. But for what it is, all right, I know it's 20 quid because it's a bit of a big bird, but underneath, it could have done with some weaponry. I get that, but it is a starter set, and I think this here is simpler to build than the Spitfire Mark 5C starter set.
I think it is the easiest kit anyone has ever made.
You think that as well, then, yeah?
100%. But on top of that, it felt more satisfying than any of the other kits I've ever made, because everything fit together so perfectly. Like when the bits inside, the bottom bit, the slot in place, they click in place so satisfyingly. Like it's so perfect.
What's the pilot like?
Very good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I wonder, can I do it on here? I don't think I can. But if we get, if it will, no, I don't think it will do it. But it's not a bad looking pilot, considering.
Yeah, because it's quite a big open cockpit, isn't it, on the F-35?
Yeah. But I just give it, 3 coats, and then weathered it a little bit. But when it comes to starter set, the question is, what constitutes a starter set? Now, for years, we're still seeing it now, by the way, with Hella, with Rebel.
Yeah.
We're now seeing, we're still seeing it now that let's go back to this, right? So it was always they mothball a tooling that they think they've got as much use out of it. What we'll do, we'll give it a couple more runs, and we'll add a few pots of paint, a little bit of glue and a brush, and we'll sell them as starter sets. And actually, starter sets can be, because of the age of the tooling, it's worn, it's flashy. It's not a case of just cutting it off the sprue and putting it together. You've got to clean it up, and there's no instructions on how to clean up the sprue. But Airfix are bringing out this range of starter sets that are completely designed from the ground up on how to do a kit, and I think this is great. And also, like you said, I was talking, Lexi and I were talking, they need to bring a couple of things from starter sets into actual model kits themselves. For instance, having the fuselage, I forgot what's called, this here, Oh, crumbs. The canopy clicks in. So, and that's it. And it just clicks in. Why can't they bring that to other kits? You know? But, you know, what's your thoughts on a starter set? What should be a starter set? Should it be an easy build? Should it be a clean build? Or are you happy with an old tooling that you just, as long as you got some pots of paint and some cement and some brushes, does that constitute a starter set? That's the question for tonight. So who wants to start with that one?
I have a starter set right here.
Yeah.
And it came with 3 pots of paint.
Yeah.
Admittedly, you hardly use the yellow. I haven't used it at all in this. It seems to be a bit of a pointless color. The black is helpful, but the interior is all grey. So why didn't they supply a grey? But it's a kit with a paintbrush, some Humbrol polycement, which is great for filling bins, and some paints. The problem is to make basically it's the same. There's 2 decal options, but they're basically the same. You have to remove parts, you have to cut things off, and you have to modify it a little bit. And I don't feel that is really appropriate for a starter set. The key thing is it should be easy to build straight out the box.
What about you, James? What do you think the starter set? You know, have you experienced really good starter sets or bad starter sets?
I've done a few, and they've never really given me that much pleasure. I got to be honest. But they're not the newer ones. But I think Airfix have got the finger on the pulse in as much as that, as in their own words, it's about the experience that the model maker gets, and the better experience that the model maker gets, the more likely they are to progress from a starter kit to something else. And you're right, you know, using old tooling and rehashing something. Really, I understand why they do it, but it's not logical, especially when you've got a couple of kits out there that are, let's face it, dogs. And the initial experience of, you know, if I gave that to my grandson, for example, their initial experience would be, this is far too much fuss.
Yes.
And the same as with the quick kits. You know, it's slightly different, obviously, but what quick kits I have done, I've done 2 of them. And they're fantastic. They're just what you need for something. I mean, my grandson is coming up to 5. In fact, just turned 5. So to get them involved in model making at that age is very difficult anyway for attention, maintaining the attention to it. So the quick kits fit in very well with that. But a flashy, ill-fitting kit that, you know, the paint doesn't really do what it's meant to do, is really the way to encourage a new starter. The one thing it does do, in fairness, is it does teach you or teach them that model making is full of frustrations, and will make you want to throw it against the wall. But is that a good experience? It's an honest experience, but I don't think it's a good experience. So I think that all the companies need to look long and hard at the starter kit sections that they sell, and just withdraw anything that has any issues, and just take it off the shelf as a starter set.
I think you're absolutely right. I think the thing for me is, if you approach it from the point of business, which is what really annoys me, is in all the businesses I've been involved in, you have to approach things on the customer experience side. You know, marketing always has these phrases about the customer journey, which is a marketing thing, but it's correct, right? They don't actually think about what's it like to sit down. Who is it even aimed at? Who is a starter set aimed at? Because there are different levels of starters. Like you've just said, James, there's, you know, you've never done a kit before. You are, 5, 6, 7, 8, doing it with your dad, doing your mum. There's the one who's just like 11, 12, 13, maybe doing it for themselves. Those are different levels of starter. You know, somebody coming to the hobby later on, you know, young adult to, I don't know, 20s, but never done a model, but like side. Again, that's a different audience entirely. And I don't think the companies actually sit down and rate themselves and have customers rate what that experience is. Because if they did, in any other industry, all of those people would be unemployed, because the experience is generally garbage. And I think Airfix are probably the only company that of late have actually started listening. Because, as Mossa said, purpose-built, effectively, kits that go together very well, that are ideal for a starter set, and where you want to be. What I wish they would do, and I think Hello actually are probably the best examples, is just the paints are dog shit. And again, it's very, very frustrating. And yeah, I get that a very young kid is not going to be good at painting. But again, who is it aimed at? If you're getting a bit older, you want a decent paint. You want paints that actually you can use. Even if it's like only 3 paints, but actually have proper tubs of paint. They're not that expensive. You could have smaller ones with smaller dropper bottles, 10 mils or whatever.
Yeah.
But the ones that they supply, they often dry out. The consistency is inconsistent. The results are bad. You really have to work at them, and that's not a starter experience. So the kit is good, then you have a bad experience at the end. So if they could just join those 2 pieces together, I think that would provide a better experience. And again, just think about who is the target audience and cater it for them, rather than just, as you say, get any old kit off the shelf, stick it in a new box, stick in some paints that nobody's going to use and some glue, and charge more for it. Doesn't cut it.
I think with the paint situation, it always amazes me. I mean, I've got up there a bag full of the little pots from Airfix models and stuff. I don't use them at all because they're generally not that great. But especially now with if I just grab a bottle, the new Humbrol bottling that they've done, it's a slightly smaller, slimmer bottle.
Yeah.
But why don't they think about the fact that instead of producing a pot that's that size, why don't they see it as given as part of the experience? When someone buys a starter kit and wants to start doing model making, they're making an investment in a potential hobby that may carry on. So why don't the companies invest in their investment by giving them just a normal pot?
I think they probably plan for half of the paints to go unused, or half of the models to never be made, or something like that. And if they sit around for too long, they go off. So maybe it's just that they don't have faith in in the starter sets even being made half the time.
I think that, and also it's a cost thing, isn't it? You
definitely
produce a bottle with 10 mil in, and then you produce a pot with 2 mil in, then obviously you're making a far greater profit in that part of the kit. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they're making a real big profit in starter kits, because I'm sure they're not really. But it just seems to me, every time I would buy a starter kit, the first thing I take out of it would be the brush, because the brushes are pretty good. You can go out a lot more on brushes by all means, but as a general rule, I've got loads of Humbrol brushes.
Well, the brushes brush, which sounds obvious, but some of the paints don't paint. As Alex said, it's just sand with water. Some of them are horrible. If I can very briefly defend Hella a little bit, these paints.
No, you can't.
Oh, okay. These paints, which is what came with the Alouette, there's 3 of them. They are all fine. They're in reasonable pots. They were all liquid. They're exactly what you'd expect a paint to be. Maybe a little thick, but somebody with more experience would just thin them down. In the Hellcat starter set, one of the paints was in this sort of pot, and it makes Humbrol's ones or Airfix ones look good.
Well, I just cannot understand, right? When you have I'm going to go screen. This is the Revel starter set pots they give you, and it's just a little twist and they open.
Yeah,
it's dry. Okay, that there is not sealed. Airfix Humbrol paint again. You got this. You got to use your teeth to open it. Again, little pull, and it's dry. Okay.
Yeah.
So surely then somebody must go, fucking hell. They let in air. But when you have something with a lid, which has got a thread, okay, when you screw that tight, you know that you've got 3 or 4 layers of sealant there, and it's not going to go hard, is it? You know, so surely they could create a pot like this that you have a thread on that you could unscrew. I know it's small, but surely there is, and it can't cost the earth to create a little pot with a thread on it that will give you a decent seal. That is the problem, and I think that's what it is. Just having a little pip together, they're not sealing, are they?
But it's a lack of imagination, Moss, because those already exist.
What, the little twisty pots?
There are 7 and 10 mil little versions of those ones that are used. They're used extensively by mini painters.
Yeah,
and you can buy them off Amazon. I reformat all of my paints into those, kind of Vallejo.
So so for that size there, you can have a twisty top.
Well, I mean, Testers has had them for enamels for decades now.
Really? Yeah. I must have a look because I've not.
I mean, they're little glass bottles, but I mean, the Testers have had them for decades now. I remember those are the first paints I ever painted with.
Yeah.
It's not difficult, and you think the fact that Humble already have the 15, 18 mil bottles. You can think actually the smaller ones are the same diameter, they would just require a filler, so you wouldn't need to change any of the packaging lines, because I understand there will be costs associated with that and all that stuff. But it's just an amount of imagination. It's the rather than do it because it's hard, it's just like we'll just carry on with the same thing which doesn't work. So again, in other industries that wouldn't be tolerated.
Can I just put a caveat to Humbrol paint? I'm not gonna think. Now these were my starter sets because I built them for the starter set, just for the videos. I painted these with Humbrol paint, but I knew what I was doing. Right when they came, the paints were wet. I watered them down. I gave each of these 3 coats, and do you know what? They come up for a starter set, and you're not spraying them. This is from the brush. I was well impressed with the paint. That's what I did. But when I got the kits, they're relatively new, straight from Aldi. Okay, not gonna lie, and that's it. They painted up lovely. You can't deny it. And so, in my defense, when the paints come in the pot, they're not that bad. All right, they're not going to be super duper. But remembering, you people who don't understand what quality is. And when I've done this with the paint, and like I say, you can't deny it, they've actually gone down really well. There's no brush strokes there. They went down absolutely phenomenal. And I know that the Airfix are really pushing hard with quality control. And they're saying they're trying to get the paint right. And I understand that. But the issue you've got, and I'm going for this as well, because people say, oh yeah, the paints are crap. Rev will do the same, but instead of there's got this little pot, but that's solid. That is in there, absolutely solid. It's got a little bit of wetness at the top, but you push in, and it's because they don't seal right. That is the issue. Well, if you get them perfect. As I said, I know I'm an Airfix fanboy. Okay, I'm not a Humbrol fanboy, but credit where it's due. If you know how to water down paint properly, and I think it was 60% water, 40% paint, and I did 3 coats, and as I said, I think they actually painted up right. You can't see no brush strokes, so then again, I knew to use one of these as well, the flat brush, which you don't get. But yeah, at the end of the day, kudos to what it is. But as soon as you mention Airfix kits or starter sets and Hella or whatever, the first thing they say is the paints are shit. So surely then, we've got this sort of movement forwards now where they're getting the kits right. Maybe the paint's not. I'm just looking now. Where's my F35 paint? The one that I thought was, which one was this one? This one was 165. 165. Yeah, it need a good mix, I suppose, but It's very. There you go. That's the paint coming out the pot. That's the paint just come out the pot. You need a hell of a lot of water. That's for the F35B. That's the paint that come out of it. So, that's so you do that. Whoops, all over me printer, all over my keyboard. But yeah, that's the paint.
There's the liquid.
Yeah, the liquid just gone on my bloody keyboard. So that's
one layer covers all, right?
I mean, just before I lose my keyboard. Mind you, it's an Apple one, so they're waterproof anyway. So yeah, that's the. I don't know what the other ones are like. What's this one here? This one is the 159.
Like I was saying about the.
This one's not even full. This one's like look at that. It's half empty. I can't see it on the camera here. We can see that it's hardly any paint in that one. To be fair.
Like I was saying, with Mary Rose though, Moss, 3 out of 4 paints were fine.
Yeah.
But one of the paints, which is unfortunately the ones that you really need for the sails.
Yeah.
These sails you can't tell from this. You'll see on the video. It should go up in about a week, I guess.
Yeah.
They've got about 10 or 11 coats of paint on because I had to thin it.
Yeah.
So that it was usable, and then with it thinned to the consistency you could use it, it had about 0 covering power. And just as a test, I made up some Dale Rowney heavy body acrylic, just watered it down to the same consistency, and just painted it on one of the sails as a comparison. And it's like night and day. It's beautifully smooth. Thing is, when I went away, came back the next day to my paint palette, the 2 bits of paint that I'd put in there had dried.
Oh no!
The Rowney was beautifully smooth. The Airfix was just like groups of they look like creatures, like little bobbles and stuff. So even on a flat surface, just left to dry naturally, it's not smooth. It's like it's not fully solubilized. So, and the experience is variable, not only through the paint, but I mean, I've got a problem, right? Because the Aldian little starter set stuff at Christmas, I bought about 15 kits. A lot, like 3 or 4 of the same one sometimes. But even in those, the paints weren't the same. I mean, they were the same paints, like 33 and stuff. But between those little pots, in starter sets that came probably from the same batch, to Lidl and Aldi, the paints were, some of them were liquid, some of them were completely dried out and solid, some were between, some had settled, some hadn't. So there was just no consistency. I think it just proves that those little pots that you showed, they just don't work. I mean, they're not used in any other industry, are they?
No. Dale from Airfix, bless him, has just contacted me. He said, we want all paint to be 100% and for them to be used. We certainly don't add them thinking that a percent won't get used. We are working hard to improve the quality control on the 3 milliliter paints. Okay. Were the paints in your F35 okay? Whoops. Listen, right. By and by, every model, everybody that's built a model have had a bad experience. And it isn't just Airfix, all right? Or should I say Humbro? Revel. What were the Hella paints like, honestly, Matt, in your Hella kit?
The little pot that I showed of the 106, the dark grey, was, in my opinion, worse than most of the Airfix ones I've had. So the Airfix Red Arrow, for example, the red was not fantastic, but it was usable. It was, it was fine, especially when thin, but you can use it out the pot. Whereas there are 2 Hella ones like that. One of them was unusable. The other one wasn't much better. It was like painting tar on it. These other pots, which do have a screw top and are clearly just paints from their normal range, these are absolutely fine. Not the best paints out there, but they are more than suitable for a starter set.
Did you water them down, or did you do anything with them when you started to apply them, or did you go straight from the pot? I
specifically tried to do it straight from the pot because I'm trying to use the brush and the paints from the set, which is what I did with Airfix, which makes it fair. After one coat, I did then thin it down, mostly just for preference. You could paint this without thinning the paints. I just wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. Okay. So Hiya, Sully. Nice to see you in the chat, my friend. I see you've got a Harrier there being built.
Oh, I'm still going on it.
So what humble paints did you use on that kit you've got there?
Not a chance.
Can we? So we've also just let's get the negatives out the way first, right? Starter set, the cement. Okay, you all know that the tube of cement isn't practical, and I think when you get this is the first time you use it. Now, I think Airfix dropped the bollock, right? Because we're all experienced model makers here, but imagine you're being a starter. As experience, we wouldn't just use this from the tube. If all we had was this, we wouldn't use it from the tube. We would put it on a piece of card and then use an applicator to put it in the spot you want. Now, they created this before you start guide, and I think it's brilliant. But they dropped the clanger because what are they doing there in that picture there? They're getting you using the tub of glue like that. And that's not the way to use it. It's like, oh, you brush your teeth by getting the tube and doing it all like this. And then you mean
you guys don't?
They need to remove that picture there.
I'm going to make some notes. Hang on a minute.
Yeah, okay. They need to remove that picture there and have a picture of it. And like a thing saying, apply the glue with a cocktail stick, or apply the glue, But
or just supply better glue.
The back of getting an old back of a brush, the end of a brush, and put it on, not the brushy end.
They could easily put in a little line about thinning the paints in there as well.
Yeah, and a line of thinning the paints. So there you go. So when people get upset when the glue spilled out everywhere. That because they're seeing that's how you apply the glue. So I understand don't use too much glue, but when you're using this, you've got no control from this nozzle.
Yeah, I think the key is they're not the easiest things to use, and if these are starters, what's the age rating on those again? Is it plus 8 plus?
8 plus.
Yeah, I just saw my Tiger. Yeah. If you're an 8-year-old, you've never made a kit before, but you know of it, and you get that tube, it's not the easiest thing to do, and that above all else, I think, will ruin your kit.
Yeah. So they need to redesign that bit there, I think. But on the positive, if they could change the glue like Revel do and have the needle applicator, that would be perfect. Because I said they do 2 sizes, don't they? Because I've got 2 sizes. That's the one that you can buy is that size, and they do one with like 10 grams in. I think I've got one.
Yeah, smaller one.
Yeah, I think I've got one here somewhere. Have I got one here? No, I haven't. I've only got the big ones. But I did have a small one here somewhere, which I got in a kit. No, I can't find it here. But they do a smaller one, and I think that would be easier. So maybe if they have the picture of that, but they're going to do it to them. But have the picture of the glue and have a nozzle showing you, that would be better, because the cement's bad, but. This one here was built using the glue, the cement, this here. It's on a video, you can see. And, because I was using a cocktail stick, you can't see where I've cemented it. But I'm sure that if I went along like that, I would have made a bit of a mess. So that's the negatives gone from starter sets.
I've got
Airfix is basically we'll go for Hella now. Hella, they're now releasing starter sets with tooling that's over 20, 30 years old. Because that was a starter set, isn't it? Or a gift set.
Yeah, I think it's their own website says it's a starter set. Others are selling it as a gift set, something like that. But that might be a translation thing. You never know.
Yeah. So, but and Revel do it as well. That I don't think Revel created a range of starter sets that were designed and tooled specifically for ease, as Airfix have done. There are other companies that do very quick builds, like the Click Build or the Hobby, is it Hobby Boss or whoever done with that Bearcat that I was building. This Bearcat here, where's it got the box too? Yeah, this one here you could box this kit up from Hobby Boss as a starter set, because that's 5-6 pieces.
And actually, to that point, what I was going to say earlier is that I think that for starter sets, we don't necessarily have to worry so much about it being hyper detailed and having everything right. I mean, it's not to say that it should necessarily be bad and awful and inaccurate, but like those Hobby Boss kits, right? The interior is not super detailed. You know, I love the Hobby Boss Easy Assembly kits, but they are basic.
Yeah.
But where the concern more is, it's not, I don't think it should be as much the detail on the model. It should be in the quality of the materials, because that's the difference, right? That is really what the difference between a starter set and a kit is the other materials added. So it really is that quality that where the focus should be.
And the fit basically, isn't it?
Yeah. As long as it fits nicely and the quality of the materials are good, you can, again, if it's for new people getting into the hobby, you can get away with it not being 100% spot on where that one specific gas tank is, you know, whatever.
You know, I think actually, I mean, I'm going to say something slightly controversial here. I'm not even sure it has to fit, you know, that well. If you think about a starter to the hobby who is, you know, like an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, are they going to worry about seeing a seam on their model? No, they're not. I mean, one of the things I say to people, if they want to try a starter kit, start a new kit off, try the old Tamiya Sea Harrier, the 48 scale one. Now, most people would say, oh, that's a dog of a kit. It's inaccurate. It's horrible. It's got no detail. But actually, it's got relatively few parts in terms of like small fiddly bits. It goes together fine. You know, you can't really screw it up. It's horribly inaccurate in a number of places. And some of the fit is, you know, you get little sink bits between where the fuselage halves join, and there's a little bit on top that kind of sits in. So we would worry about that 0.5 millimeter drop. A kid isn't going to worry about that. They're going to worry about, can they build this kit? And then does it look good when they're, you know, flying around their bedroom?
And I think that there are two definitions, I guess, to how, whether or not it needs to have good fit. Like, as you say, if there's a seam line, if there's that little bit of a difference, but like the locating pins absolutely need to line up. You know, it needs
has to go together.
It needs to go together well. So the fit in assembly should be as on spot as it can be. But if there's a little bit of a seam, a new person to the hobby isn't, you know, that's not the main concern. That's not, if they see that, that's not going to chase them away from the hobby in the way that getting super dried out paint will.
Just I want to go into the comments at the moment. We've had quite a lot in the chat, so I want to get there. Little History says, but they are cheap starter sets aimed at kids or people getting into hobby. My son never had a problem with any of the paints, including starter sets. Must be seriously old stock to dry that way. Going by that, we you know, I know you put down further in your comment, are we aiming at this as for kids or as pro modelers? No, we're looking at this in the realm of somebody who's never built a kit before, who probably has maybe watched a couple of videos of, say, Plasma or somebody that's built a model kit. You know, the focus is really on the actual beginner, the same way as a collector. You know what I mean? They always start off with very basic and then they move on in their hobby. So yeah, I get that. Little History.
And to that point,
new Airfix stock all the time. It's definitely not old stock. That's the issue. We think there is an issue with the paint. Dan Usher, further on the paint issue, the imprinted of bad starter parts. This will reinforce the perspective of all humble products are crap, which they're not. Totally get that. Again, I've had starter kits from every brand. To be honest, they're all the same. It's a shame, really. Never mind. That's about the paints. Little History, plenty of examples of good Tamiya paints. So yeah, we know how good Tamiya paints are. Just to add to the paint issue, I'm doing the new then and now Airfix starter set right now, and only 2 of the paints were in clumps.
Only
good. That's only, but yeah. So yeah, but I don't. Yeah, this the then and now is it a starter set? I think that's more of a gift set, really, isn't it? Because of the price. I think the two. Celtic West, I think pigments are critical. Some colours are hard, yellow, because of the mixture of pigments involved. Artist acrylics are generally single pigment, they're therefore more predictable, which is good. Many people thin their paints with water only. Try thinning acrylic medium instead. Yes, I've heard you say that. Quickly going down through again.
But as a beginner, going to know that, you know?
Yeah. As a beginner in the 70s and my 80s, I absolutely loved the Matchbox kits. Fit was great compared to Hella, Revel, and Airfix. They were delightfully flash free. Yeah. So James is having to go. One officer, nice to see you, mate. He's off to get the missus. But yeah, there's quite a few comments there of this.
The Airfix kit one actually is a really good point. So I don't think anybody would doubt that the panel lines on Matchbox kits were pretty massive and deep, but I mean, I grew up on Matchbox kits. I loved them. And actually, some of them, if you look at them, put a bit of work into them, are fantastic kits. Actually, but I think that is right. And I think it goes as well. I think it was Fenris said about the fit. It doesn't matter that they've got big panel lines. And the transparencies were a bit thick. They went together well.
Yeah,
and they look good when they were done for a kit or a starter.
Yeah, that's it. Well, there's real positives because the Airfix starter set ranges from Airfix are basically everything you've had previous you won't see anymore. So like the Beetle, the Ford GT, the Jaguar, there was a Ford I think as well. They will be now, if they're old tooling, they will either be made into vintage classics or they will be released as gift sets. So gift sets are people who probably have had experience building models. But there's a couple of takeaways I want to take from is this starter set guide, which I think is absolutely fantastic. They just say they stir the paint thoroughly. I would also recommend that they put and water down the paint as well in this. But this here is a really good get off your ass going guide. This is, which is excellent, and they come with every starter set now. But I am absolutely loving the instruction manuals. And if there's a couple of things I could take away from the starter set, they should bring into normal or classic kits, I should call them. Is this the way they've set it out? I'll go big screen so you can have a chat about this in there. There you are. It's telling you to cut off the lugs, where to cut off lugs, where is it there, and where to put the glue with the yellow lines. And there you go again. And they've got the sprue tree to the left, so you know exactly what you're cutting off. It's brilliant. I cannot fail it. And if you noticed, and I know they're bringing this into the other instructions as well, the color of the brush is the color of the paint. So you see it's black, so 33 black, which does help because they never give you the actual color itself, do they? They only ever tell you the number. But you're going through on this one here, and that's a good example. When you're doing the undercarriage, you can see where you glue the color. 34 is white, 33 is black. There's the sprue tree where you're cutting off which are the injection points where you cut off the lugs, and there you go. And there's a sprue tree again, and again there you go. So if there's anything from it, I wish that they could create the instructions exactly the same for every kit. I think that's something you could take away from the starter sets.
I've seen that. Oh God, there are so many kits I've done where I've cut small pieces, and you come to it, you're about to fit it, and you think that wasn't an injection lug; that was part of the part.
Yeah.
So that I think is fantastic. I'd love to see that on more kits, definitely.
Yeah, most definitely.
So I have, in addition to my little Hella helicopter, I also have the Hella Hellcat starter set here, again painted entirely with their paints, which is why it's in the wrong color. And And this is a 1977 tool. It's not bad. It's a bit wonky because I refused to use filler on it because it was meant to just be made out of the box. And then by comparison, oh, hang on a minute. Airfix went and did a red arrow that fit together beautifully and has a fancy. Just look at the difference in those.
Yeah.
And a Tiger tank as well, which isn't finished. But they're just the Airfix starter sets. I wish I had when I was first starting in this hobby. It's just so much nicer.
Yeah. And you're right what you're saying. Those they did go together particularly well.
Also, the decals from Hella are shite.
Are they bad? Are they?
They go on. They're just out of register.
In what way? What the film's off?
In what way? The blue spots look like it's googly eyes staring at something in the middle distance.
Yeah, I've never understood that.
Brilliant. It's just what I always wanted.
That must
you can
be
see the red off, right? Like where the white is.
Yeah, and the yellow sort of just disappears for a little bit. Yeah, that's the worst of them. But
you have to use those on an aircraft as eyes, please.
I don't.
In fact, I don't need them on this one because I'm doing that deliberately. One of the options doesn't have them, and I'm deliberately doing that one. So yes, I have those as a spare. I'm gonna have to put them on eyes for something.
So that Hella kit came with those decals, yeah.
Yep.
I've had an Academy one where the blue color was off by a good 2 millimeters from where it was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like the stars and bars were just like it was red and white and then some blue, And that was a starter set from Academy.
Oh, by comparison, look at that. Oh, beautiful.
Well, and on the Mary Rose, these are all decals, and across the front of this piece, these are not flat areas.
Wow.
And these, I must say, actually, Airfix's decals have they're fantastic. They're as good as any aftermarket decals that I've used. They're tough enough to manipulate. They're thin enough that they'll conform. They're perfectly registered. This is I think it's a 1/400 scale kit, and these are just beautiful.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a starter kit. This cost me £7. It was, some of the best value modeling I've had doing this little Mary Rose, which I never expected. As an experienced modeler, this was great. I loved it.
Yeah. I would put it down to the ease of build because, as I said, a lot of people call them mojo builds, and they very much are mojo build. But you remember, you're getting a new tooled model for 3 or 4 paints, cement and a brush, £7.99. I know the Lightning is £20, but that to me that was a larger starter set because the size of the plane, But it was such a delight to build, and it just, as I said, it just went together, and there isn't a dab of filler on there, not a dab of filler.
And for $10, you cannot beat that, right?
No, you can't
beat that.
No, that's right, you can't.
$10.
Yeah. So
Airfix just need to fix their international distribution.
They do, don't they?
Because I think what we can get for £8, £9, £10, £11, I think.
Yeah.
Others don't necessarily get it for that. I think the US and the Australian markets definitely pay a pretty high premium.
That's true. That's true, Alex. Yeah, it's it might be, £9 there, but the equivalent would be, I don't know, $10, $11, but that's not what I would pay for it. Right. You're right.
I get the impression that, and if Dale's still watching, that really what Airfix should be doing is having Airfix America, and then what they ship, instead of it being shipped, I don't know whether they do this, I'm just suggesting that whether they ship the products to the UK, then from the UK go to America, or whether they could ship the products from China or India, straight to America, and do it that way, so you don't have all the import and export charges as what it would be. I don't know. It's so difficult to get. All I know is that Airfix announced that they weren't raising their prices, But going by what James Model Officer was saying to me, we haven't seen nothing yet, because you think we're paying a lot of money for plastic kits. You wait till the price rises come out for Tamiya this year, because apparently they're going to be horrendous. And I see the prices now. You know, you look on eBay and some of these kits, you know, that coming through the system are expensive now because of everything that's being put on. The price of plastic going up and everything. So, Dale has answered, bless him. We have Hornby USA who orders direct from India. So I don't see why the prices would be too much different unless the difference in, pricing, etc. for America.
When's it going to go from Hornby Group to Airfix Group, given that Airfix is by far the best part of that entire company?
Do you know what? Right, if I had 20 million quid, I would probably buy Airfix and just say, "Here you go, lads. Just do what you want."
To use
you're doing it bit by bit, Moss, aren't you? You know, year by year, keep spending.
All for that Bearcat. All for that Bearcat.
To use the gaming terms, I mean, Airfix carries the team.
If I could buy Airfix or Hornby, I'll say, right, I want a 124, 148, 172 Bearcat. Go! I don't know why Airfix is so expensive in America. I hear it. Jason from Outlaw Paints, he can't get Airfix in Australia. And so I've actually bought a kit for him with the coin and send it to him. He's going to pay me because it's cheaper for me to buy it here and send it to him to Australia than it is for him to buy it in Australia. Apparently.
That's crazy.
That's when your distribution network isn't working properly.
Yeah.
The other thing, I can't remember who it was in the comments mentioned, was about if people have a bad experience with a starter kit, they're then less likely to buy from that company again.
Yeah.
That's a really, really valid point.
That
and
makes
one
sense.
that companies don't appreciate, like Rebel and, Hella, the Airfix old when they're just chucking stuff out. Because if you have a bad experience at the beginning, I mean, I had that with Revell, and avoided Revell for years based on that. So it's a false economy not to be investing. I think Airfix are doing exactly the right thing. And if they don't get prices right, because that's part of the experience, right? If you're spending a lot or can't afford that in another market. So I think Airfix are doing all the right things intentionally. There's still things that they need to work on. You have to applaud the intent.
Absolutely. And
absolutely.
Airfix now is a completely different company to the Airfix that presumably we all grew up with, where you just generally consider it for kids and you avoid them and they're just garbage.
I get that.
They weren't even that bad.
Revell at this point.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, they weren't even that bad. It's just when you had good Revell kits from 20 years ago and then good and then sort of Airfix offerings from the same time, they were rubbish. But honestly, Airfix today are they're just different. They're fantastic.
Yeah, they're a lot more transparent than other companies as well. Which
absolutely, absolutely.
And I think that plays into that beginner user experience where if you walk up and you see this beautiful blue box with this gorgeous painting on it, and it's one of your favorite planes, and so you pick it up, you take it home, not knowing that it was tooled in the 1960s. Whereas Airfix, they're going to say it on the box. You're going to know.
Yeah. Just before I forget, because I only found this out last time I was talking to someone. If you are in America, you need to speak to the scale model shops to contact Hornby USA. That's the best way of getting the kits. Is through the Hornby, because Hornby do have a USA brand, Airfix in USA. Just if you are in the USA, and I think there's a company in Australia that import a lot of Airfix stuff, but price-wise, it's like everything. They've got to put their money on top of what the kit is. But I think SMS is the Australian equivalent for an importer of model kits. So it's if you need to buy Airfix kits, so there are avenues to buy. As I say, I'm just doing that for a friend because he's saying that he couldn't get it over in Australia. So, so we got Sully back in and got James. Hi, James. We're talking about starter sets, etc. But
yeah, we know you've been talking about starter sets.
Yeah, but in all fairness, I think Airfix are going in the right direction with the starter sets. As I said, I've not built a crap starter set yet. Every single one of them I've built has been a joy to build. And they've pushed hard. What they got now? 10 starter sets in their range, with another 3 coming this year. They've got, as I predicted, a Land Rover. So next year, I predict the Beetle will be a starter set in the range.
I predict that you're going to be a vintage classic next year, Moz.
Yes, that's right. Well, I'm hoping they're going to release King Charles III vintage classic this year as well because of the coronation or Airfix. But takeaways for me is that the starter sets are to be that good that like I was saying about the canopies, the way Pramjit had sorted out the canopy, the way it just clicks in. So you've got it all there, and it just clicks in. There's no glue. Oh, I just dropped it.
Yeah, it's like that on the Red Arrow as well.
Yeah. It just clicks in. And do you know what? Once you get that canopy on and it's clicked in, there is no difference to whether it was glued in or not. That is what we want. And because as I said, when you watch a video, I'll give Lexi this one so she can have a couple of days before I put mine up. Whoops. But that kicks in, and I sprayed the plane with that fixed in. So, no, they didn't escape, and now she's clicked in, and you can hear it click as well. She put it in the front, at the back. You would know that wasn't glued.
It's
so
the ones inside that I think are more satisfying.
If you could do that, if that could be a standard, a click fit for the canopy, all our troubles will be far away.
And to be honest, there's no reason why it couldn't, though. Because, Bandai's been doing that with their Gun Plus stuff for decades now.
For decades, yeah.
And then Mini Art will still release it where every frame is individual.
But it doesn't fit. That F-35 kit, literally half of it feels like a snap tight kit. It's so nice for that reason. And I've done a couple of model kits where they are technically snap tight kits, but you'd still really glue them, and I think they're so much better for it because it means the parts have to fit together really, really smoothly for them to be able to get that snap tight bond. So they're really well engineered, rather than having excuses on, and not Airfix, but on some kits where they have really poor fitting because they've just not really been designed with that sort of snap tight mentality.
Yeah.
Some canopies don't look like they were designed for the kit that they're supposed to go on. So,
see, Fish 63 said, "See, that's odd, VFC. I had issues with the canopy on both the Airfix Red Arrows I've built."
Oh,
that's interesting because I said if you clean that canopy up, you snip the tab off, sand it smooth, it's beautiful. And I know, as I said, it's something that you can look at starter sets, and if you got to the point to me where you build a starter set, it goes together great. So you think, get another one that's like a 15-year-old kit, and you're like, fuck, you know what I mean? You're like, what's going on?
Almost, it's like the Mary Rose and the Cutty Sark. Two different ages of construction.
Yeah,
if people get the Cutty Sark by mistake, they'll get put off building Airfix kits.
But I guess I would view this like other crafts as well, though, right? So, like knitting, you don't knit a jumper straight away, do you? You will generally just knit like basically straight lines and practice, and eventually you have to move on to make something more complicated. And there's always going to be a skill jump, and that's just naturally the case. But at least having starter sets, you have a really nice cuddly introduction that like actually makes you not want to throw it in the bin, and then you can go back and do one that does make you want to throw it in the bin, and then you'll find a happy middle ground.
I really goes back to where we started, doesn't it? With the experience, and I think most most manufacturers don't think about the experience that they're providing. They have just
I do really like
starter kit. We'll throw in some glue and some paint and charge an extra tenner for it.
Yeah, it's just not.
As much as I love them, that's literally the Heller approach.
Sounds like the Revel approach as well.
No, that's not even their own kits. That's just someone else's kit.
Let's get somebody else's 50-year-old tool, drop it on the floor a few times, and then and pump them out.
Guys, I've got a new model kit to release. It's an old 50-year tooling that someone was selling cheap. Cool. Bang it out as a starter kit. Okay.
So I really like starter sets as that like cleansing almost. You know, if I've made, not to name and shame, but I'll just use their initials KP, where the instructions don't make any sense, and you're having to fight the entire way. And even though you get a good result and it's nice and you can look at it and it feels rewarding that despite being given instructions for what you assume was a different aircraft, you've managed to make it and it looks good. I just like a starter set. Destroyed. Yeah, I just like a starter set which I can bang out in a weekend and go, oh shit, I can still do it.
Yeah, but ultimately, as Lexi said, go and buy this kit. If you want a Mojo build or you want something that you can, if you've got a youngster you want to build a kit with, it's 20 quid. There's a link in the description box below. Buy this, guys. You buy Lightning. Yeah, decal wise, you may have to take over and just have a good workout with the old decals, because I said the film is missing, and they are a little bit tricky to get on some of them. But honestly, if you want to build a starter set with somebody or give someone away, this is the kit. Actually, I think this is even simpler, as I said, than the Spitfire. It's not as simple as a tank, because tanks will just make a box and put some tracks on it, all right? But
that's like a submarine was for you.
Oh, so yeah, 2 hours put together, mate. That's what it is. And you can see there that the panel lines, you know, I've put a wash on this, but the panel lines are absolutely crisp. You know,
unless they're dragging magnet tracks.
Yeah.
I've looked at the F-35, the Airfix one. It seems to have the best representation of the RAM tape.
Really?
Every other manufacturer does a very pronounced. Do the very pronounced. That does it very subtle.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity,
actually absolutely hate. But hey ho.
Out of curiosity, Moz, which decal did you find the worst to put on? Not that I'm slating the kit, because I fucking love that kit so much.
Yeah. Well,
but which decal did you struggle with most?
Right, the one that struggled with the most, I'm going to be honest with you, I struggle with them all. That, right, you see that is the angle at the back, and you're trying to put a lightning strike down there while it's flat. You know, because you're trying to get the right angle in. That one is it? No, which one was it? This one here, I broke because it folded over.
Oh,
but you can't see that because I put it back together again. That one broke, and I was able to push it together just about. That is that a flag underneath the
yeah.
That one folded in half, so I had to really be careful.
Mine
of
did
that
as well.
Because it is like a donut, isn't it? It is just there's no film, is there?
Nope.
On it.
That was like a round glazed donut.
That was the easiest. The little donuts, that one there flipped over 3 or 4 times. So I've kind of weathered the fuck out of that one to hide the fact it's split in 2. And the V-shaped one,
done his tank trick there.
Yeah, when the V-shaped one, you know, they were a little bit tricky as well. The V-shaped ones.
Sounds like a skill issue.
Were the ones I hated the most. The V-shaped ones on the air intakes I hated the most, but I didn't find them too bad. I actually put all of mine on when it was on its stand.
Yeah.
And I found that easier.
I should have done that.
It was just perched up a little bit. It just made
I
it
should
a
have
lot
used the
easier.
stand. Yeah.
Did you drive it then?
That's gunmetal under there. I actually use gunmetal on the. If I put it right in there,
that's one way of avoiding the question.
Yeah.
It's gunmetal.
Are you on about the exhaust?
He didn't answer.
Oh my god, words.
No, he didn't ask me. He's scared to answer.
I dry fitted nothing on that kit. I'll openly admit that.
Yeah.
But you don't need to with the starter sets, in my opinion. Like, they're so good. Or at least this one is. I've only
does this one really even need the dry fitting?
No, it doesn't at all.
I was talking about the decals.
Oh, dry fitting decals.
The old micro set was a godsend as well, though, on these. The old what's it called? Micro set, micro sole on them was a godsend. So yeah, it is what it is. It's a good tool, and I recommend it to everyone. So I don't want to put a decal one straight. The decals mean.
I still think the F-35 is ugly, and therefore.
Yeah, you said that.
And it should just.
But then you build hella kits, so you won't know quality, would you?
My opinion is impeccable.
No, it doesn't look anything like.
Whoa. Just to hit the power. This is a bit of a paradox, though, because you're saying if you build hella kits, you can't know quality. But I said the Airfix kit is good, but I mainly build hella. So does that mean that the Airfix kit is bad because I don't know quality?
Whoa!
Now you mention it.
I'll just direct my microphone here.
This is looking nice and stripy now.
Yeah.
You can't actually see it's 3 stripes, but it is 3 stripes.
Mm.
No, it's not working. Cute. Stop that.
I can't wait to get hands on that Land Rover from Airfix.
Oh, notice I broke the other wing off, by the way.
Oh lol.
It turns out the decal goes underneath it.
So
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing you build the Land Rover because I have no interest in building it, but I look forward to seeing you build it because it looks really nice.
And the Austin truck, that looks a nice kit.
We've got Hobby Barn in the chat. Hi, my friend. Have you reached 1,000 subscribers yet, Hobby Barn? We'll have to get you on in a couple of weeks. You can have a chat with us again. I noticed you went live the other night, which was good. Hotel Papa 100 is it? Oh, for the notorious Matchbox trenches.
Yeah.
At least they were recessed. You could get nothing of the sort from the European competition. And some of the early releases were really crisply molded. Yes.
Well, I've got a couple still. They're good kids.
I also think you're gonna I think the quality of the plastic's going to be different as well. Did you think the quality of the plastic was better in that Lightning Lexi to the other ones?
I don't really know, to be honest. I was trying to work out, but it sounds really bad. But because I did like a month of 6 weeks of building just for French and Azure kits, I literally barely remember the touch of Airfix plastic.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
but it felt good. Like it felt you could abuse it a little bit.
Yeah,
we're still talking about the plastic, right?
No,
maybe.
I don't think we are.
Maybe.
Here we go. So anybody built any other starter sets apart from Airfix?
And Hella.
I built
Has anybody done a Revel one recently?
I think I did a Matchbox one once.
Yeah.
I did a
crack on it.
It was back in 1863.
Yeah.
Well, I'm nearly as old as that. Captain VFC, so
it was before planes were invented, but it was still of a Spitfire for some reason.
I think I saw the woodcut of that.
What about you, Sully? Do you build many starter sets?
No. I did the Airfix Mark. Was it the Mark 5? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that one because I got that. I think I got for nothing. Actually, I think. I don't think starter sets, but I wasn't really around when I started out. So
yeah.
But to be fair though, like it says, I mean that is because I did there was a part. I think I did a actual review on it. I think that's a proper starter set. It's nice and basic. It pretty much fits together without much glue or any glue at all in some cases.
Yeah.
But I thought that was, and the instructions again, like you said earlier, the best instructions I've ever seen.
Well, compared to Kinetic, they are.
Don't even get me started. The decals, the decaling for where's me? I lost it. He's terrible, and they're wrong for mine anyway. But when you come to sort of some like the main, like the rain doors and the tail flashes and stuff like that, there's no numbers for it. So you've got to try and figure out the main decal markings, which was a pain in the arse. Yeah, there's nothing whatsoever.
So you seems like a KP in that kit, then, are you, Sully?
Yeah.
What's that, sorry, man?
You're quite disappointed in that kit now, are you?
No, not really. It's just it's dumb things that are really annoying.
Yeah.
With it again, stupid stuff like that. I mean, there's a V on the tail. Didn't even bother putting it on the other side. I mean, and it is simple stuff. Like I said last time, some of these, some of the detail in the back of the cockpit. There was nothing there. I mean, just some basic wiring, molded wiring we'd done. I wasn't expecting like a full proper detail.
Yeah.
The tyre treads are only on the outriggers and not the main wheels, and it says it's just dumb little things because the detail in the kit itself is absolutely amazing.
Hey, Sully, did you see that I weathered this lightning?
Do you know what? I haven't watched it yet. I haven't had a chance.
No, the video's.
I heard you said it, but
yeah, I've weathered this one so that you would leave me alone. Do you know what I mean? I've actually weathered it. Okay, so put a wash on it. All right. And the kit isn't finished unless it's weathered. Also, the thing about this starter set, right, is that if you want to have the gearing up all the doors open and stuff, you can use the closed door options as masks. So if you wanted to spray up the bits white first and then put the flaps in and then spray up the outside or paint the outside with a brush, you could use these as your masks.
That's good, because there's very few kits I've put together, and I've tried to use like those parts to try and mask stuff off.
Yeah,
and they don't even flaming fit proper.
Yeah, these all fit lovely because I tried them before I put them in. So,
what do you guys think though about? I mean, you mentioned there, Moss, because I think you can put the exhaust down.
Yeah,
for vertical landing and up, and you can have it.
Yeah,
landing. You can have the gear up. Do you think that's too much for a starter kit?
No,
because,
I don't.
Because going back to our previous thing about who they're for, because I was thinking this just as we're talking. I think one of the testaments to the Airfix kits are those 1 hour challenges I did on the channel. Ridiculous, right? Of building a kit in an hour, painted and everything. But you can get close with an Airfix aircraft, and you can do it and produce a decent result with a tank, which is testament to how good those kits are. Difference between the Sherman and the Focke-Wulf that I did. The Sherman is a cut-down version. It doesn't have the full tank treads and everything that the main kit has, whereas the Focke-Wulf has everything. And so it is basically, like you said, it's a box with the tracks as full assemblies that then go on. So would it be better to have, like the Focke-Wulf, for instance, just with only the flying option? And, by extension, the F-35 as a starter kit, just as a flying option?
I wouldn't say so. I built mine in like 20 minutes, like the actual building. And then, like, if I had used the paints that were in it and just thinned them, you could have painted it in like 10 minutes. It's like mostly one color. Like it because it's so well designed, it's so easy that it doesn't take you any time.
The design,
I think even if you were new, you would find it really easy.
I think Lexi's hit a really good point there. To get the model in a painted without if I did it with gearing down, so the nozzle duct down, all the doors open, flaps open, everything all open. I spent a weekend on it because I was spraying it up, going away, coming back, everything. But if I sat down and wanted everything up in flying mode, so it was all straight, everything, all the doors down, you could and spray it one color. You have to do the cockpit first, mask up the canopy, put it all down, and then clear everything all into position and spray it up. I reckon you're right. I reckon you could get that done in under an hour if you were spraying it.
Easily. I think you could do it hand painted. Hand painting, I think you could.
You want to do 2 coats, wouldn't you, with the Humbrol? You wouldn't do it with 1 coat though. You would do it with 2 coats, wouldn't you?
Don't even use a brush. Just dunk it straight in the pot.
Yeah.
but again,
I
going back to the idea of it being
now I'm thinking about it because I decided to do it with gearing down so it was hovering. I wanted it in hover. Instead of being in flight, I had it in hover. If you did it in flight, I think you're right there, Lexi. You could do that in under an hour. Easily. You could do it in an hour easily.
I think it's because it's so perfectly engineered that it's so easy to do that having the extra options doesn't matter. And unlike in some instructions where it has the horrible thing that we see all the time where it's like step 8 and then there's like it just gives you 2 options, doesn't explain which the 2 options are for. It's just here are 2 options and then you've just got to somehow work out which one you're following the whole way through. This one just says you get to the bit where it's like choosing the nozzle and it's like, okay, if you're doing it with the nozzle pointing down, skip like steps 6 to 12 or something and go to step 15 or something. I don't know, whatever it says. And then you just skip straight to that and you're following it. It's so legible that I would argue like this, it makes it no more complicated at all.
Yeah, it was the same with the Red Arrow. The Red Arrow is just so well engineered.
So if you look at the instructions, is a prime example. Look at the instructions, right? Prime example here. So that's everything underneath. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 parts there. But if you were doing it as a in flight, you would only have one. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. So you have your part count straight away if you're doing it in flight mode. So yeah, I think you're spot on there, Lexi. It would be because you're doing painting all those doors up and everything. When that's one piece, isn't it? You got two doors there, but that'd be one piece, wouldn't it? And that would
it would just be the same color.
Yeah. So I think you're right. You're cutting the part count. Having the 2 options is quite easy. It's simple, really, because gearing up, gearing down, you have that on most starter sets anyway. The only added bit you've got is the fact you need to have the doors at the top, and then you would need the 2 different ducts. They're either going to be, the outlet will be either straight or bent. So you put the straight one in instead. But it's it's 20 quid, so it's the 10 or more than most starter sets. But it's a lot of meat on the bone, and because of the way it's being designed, I think it's still Yeah,
I was thinking of a more general question with starter sets. Is there a market for? Again, we said that like very basic starter sets, a kid with their parent or, whoever it is that's doing it with them. And they just want to buy, something and do it. They don't care about options. And then maybe a second step is the second kit, which is here is a starter kit with options. This is kind of the next piece up. I don't think anybody really looks at starter kits in that way, do they? This is a level 1 starter. This is a level 2 starter. This is level 3. That you're actually being taken on that journey. They're all just starter kits. There's no kind of differentiation.
I wonder if that's though because by doing that you're like halving your market at best, because you're then only selling to people who want a flying model, which most modelers I would say these days probably don't. And whereas
Starters?
If you get
10-year-olds,
but they can just build it with it up, can't they? I with an ex's nephew, I bought them a Red Arrow, and they just built it with the landing gear up. They didn't give a shit that there was an option to have it with the landing gear down. They were just like, "No, I'm going to have it fly," and then proceeded to throw it at a brick wall the next day, which was definitely not soul destroying.
Again, if a kit is well engineered, then you can do both.
Yeah, and I would say like it's better to have the option there. They can start doing it, and then if they go, "Oh, I really hate this," they can just rip it out and put landing gear up. I mean, I did that as a kid when I messed them up. I would just break the landing gear off and go, "Oh, it's got landing gear up now." I think it's better to have the option there and not need it than to buy it and then go, actually, I wish I could have. You know.
That's if you look at the last few starter kits they've done a release of the Spitfire VC as a starter kit, and they've done a full fat version as a release. I wonder has that killed sales at all? And they've learned that lesson with the F-35.
I mean, if anything, I would probably say like the snap kits were really what the gear up only options were. Like Revell used to do them. I used to buy them every time I went to Fairford as a kid. Like the Revell snap kits, they were all, I think they were 144 scale, but they were purely gear up, tiny little kits that just snap together, which is again a good instruction, but they were nowhere near like actual modeling, like relatively speaking.
Yeah. I still think, as I said, Airfix have set the standards for starter sets.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Everybody's got to catch up with them.
They've embarrassed everyone else.
Yeah, it's not just winning. Nobody else even competes anymore.
No. Yeah.
Well, I think
all you have to look at is
that cutting pieces out to make a different option. What newcomer to a hobby is going to do that in the Helikit?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is ridiculous. There is no version that doesn't involve hacking something off.
That's not a starter kit, is it?
Yeah.
No, but it is a helicopter and it looks cute.
It's the Harrier next door is the classic. The Harrier that Sully's building is a classic example. You've got to cut bits out of it.
Which brings me on to the point of other companies that could really bring in starter sets, like I was saying about Hobby Boss. They're easy assembly, authentic kits are fantastic. This is, they've done a Spitfire, they've got a Hurricane now. I think the Hurricane one comes with a clear part, doesn't it? It's in clear, and then you spray it up after.
I think Hobby Boss do pre-painted versions of kits as well.
Yeah, well, Airfix did back in the day as well. Airfix had I've got one here somewhere. Yeah, Airfix definitely did back in the day, and they're called the mini kits. And,
I had one of them. I did the P51 on my channel.
Yeah. Is that the one? P50? That's 47, isn't it?
It's 47. Yeah. I got the P51 a few months ago and did it because I had them when I was a kid.
Yeah. So these are all painted up inside. All you got to do is glue them.
Yeah, because they're like the Revell snap plate kits that they used to do as well.
And you never guess what glue they give you.
Yeah.
And that's the glue they give you.
I just lost a bit more of my soul.
But yeah, you can see that I'll take it out of the bag. I've built a few of them actually. I've got them up in my unit for a bit of fun. I think I paid like 20 quid for 5 of these.
I really like them.
But if these would be the ultimate starter set, because you'd have to paint them. Because look, you can see that. I'll put me a big screen. There you go. Even the fin at the back. These are all being painted. The engine's being done.
Now I'm sad that Archie destroyed mine.
and there's the wings. So there is a place for them. And the even the canopy. I didn't see the canopy there. Come on, let's just take it out of this bag. Even the canopy has been painted up. So I don't know.
Some Tamiya kits do that, don't they? So,
do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Empty canopies.
I would actually rather they didn't, because there's a good chance it's not the same color that I'm going to use.
Yeah, that's why I didn't.
Oh yeah. I never even thought about that. I was just like, oh, that's handy. No, it's not.
Painted canopy.
Yeah, I've got one from Hasegawa.
Do they do painted canopies in ones that have multiple options then?
Yeah.
They do. They do it with the Lancaster.
Do they?
Yeah.
See, I don't know when these kits, who's done these kits, whether Airfix ever re-released them, but You got to remember, Airfix did everything, didn't they, back in the day?
Well, so they won't re-release it because that kit's by Bachmann, and it's a bit of a sore point with Hornby.
There's Bachmann, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
know
know that.
mention of Bachmann on here whatsoever.
No, I had a look at the time, and I was quite surprised to see that they were made by Bachmann.
I know the little planes that you got were already pre-made with Bachmann because it was called Bachmann Airfix. So what was the history between Bachmann and Airfix then? Is there like I know Bachmann bought a lot of Airfix tooling, or was that Dapo actually? But all the train stuff. But so was there a history between them two that's not good?
Well, a few years ago, they brought the factory from under that was producing all the Hornby railway stuff from under them. Left them in the lurch.
Yeah,
Bachmann bought the Chinese company, did they?
Chinese company that produced the kits, produced the locos, was Sandokan, and it went belly up, and Bachmann went in and brought it. So Hornby were really in the could have gone under then. So
wow.
Bachmann also do all of the importing for a lot of other manufacturers as well. The UK don't.
Yep.
I would like to see more of Airfix models produced in the UK. And I think they've proved that they can do it with Plastech in Worthing, wherever it is, or
yeah, absolutely. That was one of the decision points of getting that Spitfire. You know,
it would be interesting to know what the price difference would be for like compared to like the Meteor at the price it is now compared to what they thought it would have been if they did it in the UK. Because I think that's why they don't do it, isn't it?
I'd
probably pay more.
It has to be, but even Plastech said in the interview that I did with him, or when he did the thing, sometimes there are kits that you just can't make in this country because it would be too expensive. And you got to remember, I think the blow for me is that sometimes the decal sheet is more expensive than the plastic in the box.
I bet Hella didn't spend more on these decals.
They definitely.
Are you willing? As I said, the price point for starter sets is like 14, 15 quid. Apart from the ones in Audi, which are like, 6 quid, 7 quid. But I'd pay £1 more for my starter set just to have a bit of glue with a fucking nozzle on the end. You know what I mean?
But I've said this for ages. The glue and the paints to me are what that let down. Even as much as I love the new F35, I would still be happier if it had a proper set of paints to buy you into the actual hobby properly, or at least if they did a bundle set that was really easily available and quite cheap to get people to buy into Humbrol paints. Because that's what I just feel like they're not doing. Like you're just like if you were a newbie and you just looked at it, you'd have the paints that are in there. You'd look for Airfix paints and might not even realize that Humbrol is the same. It's not the same company, but you know what I mean. The same parent company.
Yeah.
Like it just seems so weird to me.
I've always said I think they should dump the Humbrol brand and just create an Airfix brand of paints. And the best thing is, I think if I took over Airfix. Right, for a year.
Just set him off again.
Here you go. I have a vision. What I would do.
His vision is the bear cat.
What I would do is create a set of paints from Airfix and put them in the dropper bottles, right? And then, but they would and then there's price. So basically, what's an average dropper bottle now? £2.99, right? But if you've got 4 paints in there that have the dropper bottles in, say if you bought a Spitfire with the 4 paints, you could then suggest, and they come with the 4 dropper bottles, And that's it'd be 20 quid for the Spitfire with those 4. You would use the drop bottles because they screw up and they're going to last. You could then point them to another plane, say Hurricane, and say you could buy this Hurricane for £10, but the 4 paints that are in this set will do the Hurricane as well. And before long, you would buy each kit up and up and up. Before you know it, you'll have a whole range of paints that will do any kit you want, because that's the trouble in it. It's if you're doing English World War II, was there 7 different paints you need, really? If you think about it.
I was thinking this earlier when you were talking about it, Mark. It's if you had a set of starter kits, which Airfix do, that they've kind of constructed, you could work out which paints, even if you just put 3 paints in each.
Yeah.
So for the RAF stuff, for the Spitfire and the Hurricane, it would just be the brown, the green, and sky.
Yeah.
And the interior, is the starter going to worry too much about that? You could just, whatever.
Yeah.
But you could actually construct the starter sets. Then you have 3 separate, different paints in each one.
Yeah.
You buy 4 or 5 starter kits, and you basically got a pretty comprehensive set of paints.
You have, yeah.
And when you want to go on to the non-starter sets, well, you've already got like most of the cost associated with the extra bits of the hobby kind of under your belt.
Yeah,
I think it's a really good idea.
Well, as I said,
like Vallejo brought out. Vallejo used to do they do the sets where they do a Coastal Commander, do an RAF early and RAF late.
Yeah.
World War II sets, do Luftwaffe, etc., etc. So you get that set, and you can build virtually any aircraft you like with it.
But Humbrol did that, and did that get put with any of the kits? Oh wait, no, it didn't. Even though,
it didn't. No.
Like literally, like Games Workshop, as much as people think whatever they think about the company, they really understand you're buying into an ecosystem. You're buying into their paint, you're buying into their models, you're buying into their rule sets. Whereas I don't understand why all model kit companies, Hella is starting to do it half-assedly, admittedly, but they are starting to put their own proper branded paint. We know I hate that paint, but they're starting to do it at least.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why the modeling world seems to be dragging its feet on it, because it's like, you should want people to buy into your ecosystem, because then
Games
you
Workshop
trap them there.
Are light years ahead in terms of being a company.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons they're very successful. They've made some bad decisions over the years, but they've kind of had swings around about something about. But you're right, it's an ecosystem. It is a complete, you buy everything. You buy your washes, you buy your paints, you buy your primers, you buy your kits, you buy your snippers. Everything is theirs. Even though it's overpriced, the snippers are like $8 or something, and they're no different from, $1.99 one or one that you could get from Poundland or something.
Laughs in profit.
Yeah.
But I mean, you don't have to jack up the prices to the level of Games Workshop to have a proper business approach to this, and actually, please the customer. Have a better experience for the customer, and make more money. It's a win-win, and I think Airfix are moving in the right direction, but quite slowly in the kind of. I mean, for me, I think others have said it. I bought those starter kits from Lidl. I knew I like the glue. It's a great base for sprue goo. But as a base for sprue goo, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, you could incorporate that into your starter guide, Moss. It's like, is take the glue you've got, put it into one of the clean pots that used to have paint in, add some sprue, you've got sprue goo. That's one of your journeys on modeling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just ditch all of the paint. I can't remember who said it now. But the brushes, they're okay. They're decent for stuff.
Yeah, all right.
I'll put it down. I think Airfix brushes are brilliant. I'm not going to deny it. I've got a whole range. I know you say that.
Agree, they're fine. I think.
If you're doing intricate stuff, you probably want your Wilsons and all that. But my favourite brush is the flat brush. The amount of models I've painted, and this one here is the 10mm. That is a box standard flat brush. The bristles, this one here, I've had this one for ages now, and it's. I know I use the brush restorer, what's it called again? Where's that brush restorer gone? But you know, something I get. Pardon, sorry.
Masters.
Is it Masters? No, it's the other one, I think.
Oh, it's the same.
It's like a soap. It's like a soap. LPJ Models got me onto it. I can't remember, it might be Masters anyway. But there you go. That is the that there has been
German
used
stuff,
on so many.
This one right here.
Brush. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, the Masters.
Yeah, Masters. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that is it. You know, that is it's brilliant for going over models. You know, I use it to dust off models as well. You know, it's still got all its bristles. It's flat, straight. I like them. So
I like my brushes like I like my women.
So these are my brushes that I use.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
You've got one for emulsions there.
Not like the others.
Yeah. This one's for base work.
Now that's for your Corsairs, isn't it, Fenris? But
that's for 144 scale people, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Crazy Lock has just come in and said, just look at how MiG ammo has grown and done it right with paint sets, as every major paint manufacturer has followed. Yeah, I've got their World War II RAF early aircraft set. It's got everything you need. The paint.
Yeah, it's a good one, that one. I've got that.
Yeah. But all they could have done was add an extra tenner to it and stuck a Spitfire in there, and it would be the complete build, like, you know, and the book that comes with it, crisp details. The only thing with MiG ammo is that when they seem to take over a lot of stuff and then it disappears. Like, I'm scared to see the future of Outclad because they just bought Outclad, haven't they? So it'd be interesting to see, you know, how that goes. But anyway, thanks for joining us again, Crazy Locker. Lovely to see you, my friend. I hope you're not driving this time. Normally he's driving his little truck around. So. But I think we've said quite a bit tonight on about the old starter sets. I think we've covered a lot of ground, you know, and I quite enjoyed your takes on it all. Most definitely, it's been it's interesting. But
you know what, Ross? We should do a shameless plug for the podcast.
Yeah, which is true. Yeah, we've got our podcast. If I click on to present and then go to share screen and click this one here. There we go. Is that in? Can you see that now? That is Beyond the Box podcast. So what constitutes a new release is our latest podcast. So if you'd like to have a listen to me and Alex here from Mann's Model Moments there. So we do a podcast once a week. We recorded this one last Thursday, I think it was, and we'll be doing another one this week. We're going to try and do once a week. There's 2 so far that we've done. So this is our second one.
Next one will be on starter sets as well.
The next one's on starter sets. Yeah. So we'll be talking about
Nostradamus.
Yeah. I don't think I just see how I see things, and then I make a judgment on it, and then hopefully it comes true. But
we're going to have a Nostradamus episode at the end of the year, you know.
Yeah, what's that?
2024.
Well, I'm still. They've got to be releasing a Messerschmitt next year. I presume there's going to be a Beetle. They haven't done a Messerschmitt for a while, you see, so there must be a Messerschmitt in the mix. I
124 scale?
No, I think it'll be a 148. What do you reckon, Sully?
What do you reckon to go with the Spitfire?
Probably.
There'll be a Spitfire there, definitely, but it won't be a new tooling. It will be it'll probably be a Mark 14 Spitfire or something in 124 scale.
I'm fine with that. More Spitfires, please.
Yeah, more Spitfires.
I've not even managed to struggle my ass through this year, and we're already on about next year. Jesus.
Yeah. So yeah, it'd be really good to see what they bring up next year. I've got some thoughts. And every year they've released a 135th something as a new tooling. So there must be another 135th coming out, either a tank or something like that. A what? Sorry.
A bird's nest.
A bird's nest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was on the floor when I shouted that.
Yeah. So Beyond the Box The link for if somebody could link, it's in the description of this video, but somebody would like to link that into the chat. That'd be good. And it'll go. How many did we get on the last one? Was it 90 listeners?
Oh, it's a couple of hundred now.
Couple of hundred beyond the podcast. So, what did you think of it, Sully? You enjoyed it, didn't you?
I haven't got round to the new one, but I did really like it. It's very nicely done.
Oh, thank you very much, Lexi. What did you think of it?
It's really good.
Oh, you have listened to it, have you?
Yeah. Why would you? Wow, trying to catch me out. The shade. No, I wasn't to it.
Lexi deserves a lot of credit for some of the structure of the podcast.
Yeah, you have to come on, Lexi. I'm sure you're gonna have to get you on the podcast.
Yeah, I can come on at some point.
You'll have to overwrap first.
And then I think podcast 5 is going to be Bird's Nest, and we're going to have Sully on to discuss, how he made the bird's nest, where you should put a bird's nest, where the people who disagree with having a bird's nest should stick their opinion. You know what I mean?
Bird's nest in different scales.
Different scales of bird's nest. Can
what type of materials you need to use?
Yeah, definitely.
How to make an egg
in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Make eggs.
Yeah.
You might get a couple of episodes out of it.
You probably could. Yeah.
A spin-off podcast out.
That's it, yeah. Small segment.
Could you put a bird's nest in the new Airfix 172 Lightning starter set? You know what I mean?
That has to be an objective, Moss. You have to get them to put a bird's nest in something.
That would be funny though if they.
Does this mean we're not doing bear cats anymore? We're doing bird's nests.
Yeah, bear cats is so last year.
Yeah, we're a versatile show.
Somebody said to me once. I think it might have been Celtic West. Or somebody said the day Airfix brings out a bear cat, you could close your YouTube channel. You've won. They won't bring out a bear cat. They won't, sadly. So I'm reluctant. I'll just mention it occasionally and give a little dig, but they won't. There's too many. I think Hobby Boss have got the easy assembly kit done. But then saying that, I know that loads of people have done Lightnings, and then Airfix have come and created a starter set version. So now there's Hobby Boss's easy assembly kit is what it is, a tiny easy kit to build. Maybe they will build a 172 bear cat that's got a little bit more meat on the bone. Who knows? I don't work for Airfix, though people think I do.
I can't imagine why people have that opinion. It's such a mystery.
I just like Airfix. I want them to win. I say 3 years, Tamiya should be shitting themselves. That Gannet.
Can't wait.
Yeah, honestly, you talk to anyone, and it's. I can't wait to get that on my bench. And one that is that car that they're doing this year as well, the DB5. That's going to be a good start set.
Archie, no.
Archie, yes.
Anybody got any videos coming out this week? John, have you got a video coming out this week?
I do not planned. It takes me forever because I'm OCD and I'm also on the spectrum. So it takes me forever to edit and narrate and stuff. And, that's why I don't get content out as much as I want to. But soon, because I've got several projects going right now. So I hope I have some interesting, relaxing content coming soon.
I liked your tool one. Your tool one was good.
Thank you, Sully.
I liked the glue bit. I've been stitched for 10 minutes.
Well, I was going to make a roach clip joke as well, but with the alligator clips. But yeah,
Lexi, you've just put out a video about 10 minutes ago, didn't you?
What? Me releasing a video? No way. No.
Yeah, brilliant video it was.
Not the video that was meant to be out at 6:30, but made me want to cry. No.
Just quickly, thank you, Crazy Locker, for the super chat again. We've got to get you on this channel, Crazy, on your bench. You can see what you do. Like, we have to get you on here and give you a bit of love, like, you know, because you are one of the most supportive channel YouTubers out there. You know, it's always a pleasure, mate, and you're definitely well loved in the community, my friend. And hopefully you're wearing that Airfix t-shirt I sent you. Fenris, you got a video coming out this week?
Yeah, it mainly depends on whether or not I get this guy finished, if it's going to be a build or an unboxing. But
that's such a great looking plane. That I can't wait to see that. I really
do. I will say the hold on, I'm gonna have to do this manual. The this pilot is quite interestingly molded, but you know, that's going to be fun to try to paint.
Looks like a 12-year-old boy.
I was going to say, it looks like Nicola Sturgeon.
He's from the city. He needs more milk. All his bones have melted.
Yeah,
but apparently I didn't realize this.
It looks like Nicola Sturgeon sat down outside the prison there waiting for it to come out, like, you know.
That's all the job centre.
Yeah, apparently this, I didn't realize it when I did the unboxing, but apparently it's like a 60-something tooling, even though it came out in 2017, which, you know, back to that conversation.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, pretty much that's my biggest hang up is getting him painted so then I can get the last bit installed and hit the airbrush with it. But otherwise it'll be an unboxing. I have a stack of boxes that are waiting for time fillers.
Keep on doing them, mate. Keep on doing them. Matt, what have you got coming out this week, Dan? Got any videos coming out?
Yes, well, I had a video out yesterday.
Yeah.
There will be another one out on Sunday, but there will be a short in the middle of the week as well. Even though I've always said I don't like shorts, I've done another short.
You might have been bullied into doing that.
He's in shorts, basically.
Kind of guys.
It's good, though.
Yeah. So then, Sully, have you got a video coming out?
A what?
That sounds about right.
But you know what? I think I've got 3 in the pipes, and I've just struggled to get back into doing it. To be honest,
yeah.
I've got an M4 Sherman which just needs narration and just slapping together. I've got the Games Workshop one I was on about the other week, which I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with. I just don't know whether just to sort of just throw the video out with just the photos and not bother with the build because they generally don't do well for me at all. But I like just putting out what I do so everyone gets to see everything I've done, whether they like it or not.
One. You never know.
It fucking won't be.
You never fucking know with YouTube.
It won't be. And there's the workshop one which I haven't even remotely started yet. And then eventually it's going to be the Harrier.
Yeah,
it's just I've just struggled a bit with the mojo with it at the moment because things have been a bit all over the place behind the scenes, like, so it's just been a bit difficult to try and get the mojo of getting back in. So I'm looking forward to doing it again, but it's just getting the mojo back in for it.
Yeah, fair enough. What about you, James? The Bowley Go. Wait, you got a video coming out this week?
Yes, I've got one tomorrow.
Yeah,
which was going to be. It was delayed from the weekend because I couldn't speak. I was on a course of very strong antibiotics. So it's part one of the Tilly build.
Yeah.
So
fantastic. Excellent. Alex, have you got any videos coming out this week?
Yeah, I've got an unboxing of the Hobby Boss Macabre.
What's that like?
Incredible.
Yeah,
you don't need to watch a video now. It's just amazing.
Yeah. Oh no, I'll definitely watch it.
It's a short
unboxing.
Yeah.
I love
I did an unboxing of the Revell Corsair, the 32nd scale one, last week, which is a 1970 mold. I picked that up at Hobbycraft last Christmas.
Yeah.
It's garbage. But it just demonstrates perfectly some of the things that we've been touching on here about, money for old rope. The Macabre is the opposite end of the spectrum. It's and it only costs like about $5 or more. Night and day. So there's that. I have the old starter kit challenge for this little beast that'll be coming out probably. Well, either if not this week, at the weekend probably.
Yeah.
But But yeah, it's a fair few things going down.
Brilliant. And finally, Rorex, what are you going to be putting on your YouTube channel this week? We'll see you in our videos comments, I guess.
Oh, probably and pictures on Discord.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for joining us in the live stream. Thank you all the viewers who are watching on whoever platform you're watching from. And we will see you next Monday. My video's coming out tomorrow for my lightning. I'll let Lexi put hers out tonight. I'll put my lightning build out tomorrow. And we'll be back next Monday. And don't forget to check out the podcast that me and Alex have done this week. And if you can, just leave a like for this video and leave a comment on any discussion that we had on here. Just leave your response there. And again, we'll see you next Monday. Have a good one, folks. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.